you don't have to spend thousands of rand in school.
If you don't study, you end up in McDonald's. There's an extreme version of college is not important or college is a scam.
How many years do you want to spend in school? When the world is moving faster than you are. Would you at least take the risk to start a business that could give you 2 million, or would you rather go into a job that would give you 15K a month? This morning, I can confidently say I have 1.4 million profile views on my TikTok.
If you ask any person what's 5 plus 5, they say, I don't know. But if you say 5 rand per 5 rand, they'll tell you exactly. This is like it's very racist joke.
Upon retirement and upon your death, no matter what your degree is, whether you have the PhD, it stops.
Can I brag?
Yes, of course.
Brag.
Okay. I like money.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Podcast with DJval. This episode, we have a different segment, guys. I don't know if I should say before I introduce the segment, if I should let you guys introduce yourself or tell you what it is first, because this is going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting, I promise you. But let me start by introducing my co-host.
All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are beautiful and my handsome brother. I'm Amos, if you don't know me. Oyimita. I'm the one we know the fear to Dunyash. But at the end of the day, I remember your once and only. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amos. The one we know the fear to Dunyash.
Yeah,
We hear that
okay.
one.
Yeah.
As you already know, I'm DJval Exclusive, the founder and main host of this podcast. And today's segment, we are going for the young and curious. Under the young and curious, we have a lot to talk about, but we're going to take it step by step, little by little. But for today, we're going to be speaking about, is college worth it? And I have 2 beautiful ladies and 1 handsome lecturer among us. I'll let the lecturer introduce himself first. The professor, I'll let the professor talk about himself first.
Okay, so I'm not a lecturer yet, but I might change my mind.
Okay.
But yes, I am an academic and a researcher as well. My name is Victory. Can I brag?
Yes, of course.
Brag.
Okay, because of the context, yeah. So I have 2 bachelor degrees. I have a master's in engineering, and I'm currently working on my PhD at Stellenbosch University.
Yeah.
It's good to be on the podcast because I think it's a very relevant topic. So thank you, DJval, for
You're welcome.
inviting me to the podcast.
You're welcome. And my beautiful lady just next to me.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
My name is Mivu Yompalo. I'm doing my second year at CPUT doing electrical engineering. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And the lady that wants to take the shine of the day. Can we hear from you?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Ronke Calebs. You can also call me Chichi Maserati. I'm a graduate. I studied, I have a bachelor's degree in software engineering, but I am a businesswoman. So I own the business Maserati Hair Empire and Allure Skincare. So yeah, it's good to be here.
So you know how to code.
Cool.
I really don't like that module software. I really don't like it.
You're welcome, guys. I love the faces that I'm seeing here today. You said you studied
Software engineering.
software engineering and you
Yes.
have a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
Yeah. So you are the coder, right?
Yes.
And you studied?
I'm doing electrical engineering.
You're still doing electrical engineering. So
Second year.
your second year. Beautiful, beautiful. And our aspiring lecturer.
PhD doctor.
The
doctor, yeah.
The doctor. Okay,
Soon to be doctor.
let's keep it as the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yes, yeah, let's
Doctor
keep
to
it
be.
doctor.
Okay.
So you've already done, you're done with school, you're done with college, you are now...
Okay, to give context, background is in mechatronics.
Okay.
but they didn't have a master's in mechatronics at the university, so I switched to electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. Okay.
But my space is more around automation, tech, IoTs, spatial networks, basically everything techie, tech.
AI.
Okay.
The mainstream tech that you know of, yeah.
So if I may actually start with you, right? Let's go to the last thing you studied, which is electrical engineering.
Yeah.
And is there a reason why you're not currently focusing on being an electrical engineer?
Yes. Well, okay. I like money.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, the priority is getting something running that can pay my bills before going full time back into academia. So right now I'm more in just the research. I just want to build some stuff in academia, but try to build out a business on the side. And the hope is by the time the business can run on itself, I can go back fully into like academia and research.
So my main host would just allow me, I mean, if he doesn't mind me asking, like our topic today is college worth it? And taking from one of the general questions that we have here, if you don't mind also that I ask, is the degree that you have studied in college, is it really worth it from your sit point now?
Yeah, no, when I saw that topic, it was a complex one to answer. I won't lie to you, because I also have to be honest a little bit. There's two sides to it. It's like a coin that has two sides. I can't deny that where I am today, college was not a big part of it. But at the same time, I have to say that when I went into the industry and the workplace, very little of what I did in college is what I ended up enjoying, or even found out that what people needed. So there's an element of yes and no. But when I heard the topic from djval, that was the first thing I realized was I really liked it, by the way, because there's an extreme version of college is not important or college is a scam. And I think we've done something like that before, where I'm hoping that we can maybe unpack some of that today. But from a skills perspective, if you're talking about upskilling, say you're somewhere and you don't know what to do with yourself and you need to learn a skill, I would say academia is the most straightforward path to take to upskill. But as to will people pay you for a degree? I don't think so. I think they pay you for what you can do. And a lot of the time, your degree doesn't train you to do stuff that people need for, again, I could be speaking from my worldview. I'm sure there's maybe exceptions here and there. But where we come from, for example, I mean, Nigeria, yes, you can be the best software engineer in the world, but who's building software in Nigeria, right? But anyways, yeah. I don't know if that answered the question. I hope I tried to answer the question.
I don't know if my host, our main host has something to say.
We're still flowing, so we're definitely going to get there.
Yeah.
And if I may ask the software engineer, right? Do you agree that college, spending 3 years, 4 years in college is necessary for success?
No.
Why?
This is because there are more than 1 million people who didn't go to college, but they're literally in positions that many of us studied 5-6 years to get to, and they are making more money than we are. For example, I'll speak based on software engineering. I studied for 3 years and I didn't get a job. But I have a friend who didn't go to college. All he did was study a few courses on free courses on Udemy, and he has a high-paying job. So to me, I would say college is not less important, but it's not worth it if you look at the amount of money we're spending in school. Let's not forget that some people have to borrow to study. you need to think about how expensive it is to study. You need to also think about and understand that the fact that you're studying doesn't necessarily mean you're going to succeed. There are many people who are waving around certificates and they're still broke. Exactly. And another thing you need to learn is in software engineering, I think he's going to agree with me, you need to upskill. Every 6 months, you have to write a new exam.
Yeah.
So what is the essence if you have to keep learning? Because the world is growing. AI keeps growing. So you have to constantly, upskill yourself. So how many years do you want to spend in school when the world is moving? The world's moving faster than you are. You understand? So for me, based on my own position, I don't think it's worth it because I study software engineering and I'm running businesses. So, no.
So what you're saying is spending 3 years in college
Yes,
does not guarantee success.
exactly.
So it's not necessary.
Yes.
So it sounds as if you're standing on the side that says college doesn't worth it.
Yes, it's not worth it. If you want to study, I'd advise just get a short course. People don't pay you for your certificate anymore. They pay you for what you can actually do. Yeah.
Okay, that would actually, sorry, I have to chip in here. And I want to ask the young lady listening to what she has just said, her viewpoint. And being someone that is studying electrical engineering, right? And you've had the academicians speak and you've had us spoken as well. Having heard all of this, where do you find yourself going forward? Like you said, 200 level, right? Do you think it's worth it to go forward or you think you just want to dive into business?
I think it's worth it to go forward. I've seen a lot of people succeeding, having money. So, I don't know, to me, I believe in myself. I can do it. And yeah.
If I need to ask you a question, do you think the courses that you are doing right now, right, in class, do you think they are tailored enough, like they are preparing you enough for the outside world, for the real world? Because I mean, when you go to college, right, you spend all those years in school, but coming out to the real world is something different. I've seen, okay, let me hear you.
Yeah, I think so, because look, in CPUT, you are doing 50% of theory and also 50% of practicals. So I think to me it's worth it because they also there's this module I like, which is power system, and like they actually like teach you about like the industry. They show you the ways or how does this machine work. So yeah.
So when you say 50% theory, 50% practicals, the practical that you do you actually go to the site, like to the field?
No.
Where you have to engage in actual and proper electrical work?
No, they teach you how to deal with the multimeter, yeah, those small things, or how to build something, sensor, something like that, controller.
You know what is an isolator?
What?
Isolator. Okay, do you know what is a circuit breaker?
He's always...
No, I'm just trying to see.
And also, like my father is a technique. Okay. My father is also like a lab technician.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that runs in the family. Makes sense as well. Yeah, and I think that's what I want to contribute when it comes to degree studies and education. I think it's just kind of run past family ties, peer pressure, in that aspect, like what my father, what my brother has done, my friend has done, in that kind of area, and not limiting it to just the nuclear family alone. Because I speak with so much confidence and...
But it's not about that. My dad didn't go to school.
Yeah, I was about to hit that, Yeah, I was about to hit that point as well, because education is for me, is very far more than just the four walls of classroom. And to find out that what she has learned from her father is more valuable than what she's learning from class. I don't know, just saying.
Yeah. Because I have already went there knowing the name of the tools.
You see, that's what I mean.
Good point, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to throw like a question there. I don't know if you guys are all comfortable with that. But,
Yeah.
You mentioned something around college not being worth it.
Yes.
And, I mean, you could just have built a business.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to challenge you on that in the
Okay.
sense that you know how tough a business is to run,
Yes.
right? There's like that's a whole new different ball game, right? Sales, marketing, production, logistics,
Mm-hmm.
everything must work
Yeah.
to make that one sale. And knowing how difficult it is, would you say business is for everyone?
No,
Right.
business is not for everyone.
Okay.
But okay, you can finish your question.
So based on that, because you mentioned a number, I also like numbers where you said, I mean, there's millions of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Nigeria, or let's say South Africa, has 70 million people.
Mm-hmm.
And the percentage of people that can do business is probably 10, 20%.
Yeah.
Then you have this other 30, okay, my math is terrible here now. Let's say
Yeah.
20, 30 million people
Yeah.
who they're not built for business. So there's a hole in this. Well, this is there seems to be a hole in that position to say that these 30, 40 million people, whatever that number is, it means if they can't do education or if they don't do education and they suck at business, what then is the alternative for them?
Okay, so I'd like to buttress what I said previously. I didn't say that education is not important, because if it was not, the high and mighty wouldn't be sending their kids to Harvard.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is you don't have to spend thousands of rand in school. Okay, take for example, there's this thing that most Nigerians do back in the days. I think
Apprentice.
I was waiting. No, I was waiting.
Yes.
I was actually waiting.
I was
for
going to
that.
ask a question. All right. Yes, come on.
so to explain, because you might not understand what it means. So this is when a businessman goes to the village and he picks a boy up or a girl, whoever, and he trains the person. When he's done training the person, he supports the person. You understand? To do whatever they
Train
want to
the
do
person
with
in
one
business.
yes,
Mentorship,
yeah.
mentorship for them to become, better than them. So firstly, business is not for everyone. Not everyone can run a business. Can I brag a bit?
Yeah.
Oh.
So firstly, I have done thousands of businesses. I've gone into lashes, I've gone into hair, I've gone into massage, I've gone into a lot of things. And I didn't really make as much money as I would normally. But I started another business in April. And this morning, I can confidently say I have 1.4 million profile views on my TikTok for a business I started in less than 3 months. So what I'm saying is this: you don't have to do it. I didn't study business management. All you have to do is, you must know that there should be a balance. There's the things you learn from school and there's life that you need. You can't, even as someone who's studying or you're getting a career path and all of that, if you don't have life experiences, you're done for. Because the way the economy is they're looking for young, vibrant people. And when you get to a certain age, they're looking for you, they get you, and they pay you based on what they can get from you. Let me let you know that a salary is not based on your value. It is based on what they can get from you. This is why people work overtime and they're still underpaid. After that, they are going to throw you away and give you chicken change in the name of pension. When you can actually think about, business is not all about, can I do it? Business is you providing a service or a product. I have this, I can give it. And let me ask you, be very sincere, would you at least take the risk to start a business that could give you 2 million, or would you rather go into a job that would give you 15K a month? Yes or no?
I mean, I'm a businessman, so I have to say.
Okay.
I think if I understand from where Victor is coming from, right? Now, I'm coming to your question. Saying if I would prefer going for a business that would give me 2 million than going for a job that would give me 15,000 rand a month. For example, if I'm someone that cannot run a business, right? I would rather just be comfortable with the 15,000 a month because at the end of the day, if I have to put in my rent, my transportation to work, my food, clothing, everything is summed around the 15,000.
And
But
medical
now,
aid.
sorry?
Also, they give you medical aid.
Exactly.
They
And I
give
have
you
other things as well,
benefits here and
benefits
there.
as
So
well.
they're giving
So
you
now,
enough to just keep you in the
remember,
box.
if I'm starting the business, I'm sure if that business is going to crumble, fall, grow or not. If I have to go back to the question, if college is worth it, remember, guys, if I'm not going to college, doesn't mean I have to do business, right?
Okay.
I cannot go to college, or maybe I haven't been to college, but what you just mentioned earlier,
Boy.
apprentice,
Yeah.
right? Now, you are, for example, you are an electrical engineer and you are actually on the field doing electrical works. You can take me. I follow you to site every day. I learn how to fix a broken switch. I learn how to wire a building. I learn how to do a lot of stuff just from following you. I don't need to go to college to learn that. And I might actually know it better than someone that went to college.
Yeah.
Like I just asked her now, she's an electrical engineer, if she knows isolator, right? And she knew what was
Circuit breaker.
breaker, but she didn't know what was isolator. But someone that just started going with an electrical engineer to the field will definitely know what's isolator, because that's the most common things that you can actually find when you're on the field, right? So which means it doesn't mean that I have to start my own business. I can acquire this knowledge and still go to a company,
And get a job.
right? Look for a job.
Okay, let me.
But now, the question is, are companies willing to hire you if you don't have the degree? That is now the big question here, because I might have all the experience. I might know how to do what you need me to do, but I mean, no degree. Come on. Are they willing to hire someone without a degree?
Okay, firstly, I'm sorry for trying to jump in without waiting for you to land. I think there's a big misconception out there. I hear you say business is and it's not for everybody. And I hear you say, what if a particular people are not cut out for business? But we've all been doing business from the day we were born. This life, we've been doing business. From the moment you give out your bread for milk, it's business, straight by barter. It's just the awareness of it. Henry Ford was taken to, I was reading a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So Henry Ford was taken to court because they wanted his patent and how he got his patent. And they were saying, like, you are not educated. You didn't go to school. So how are you able to become an engineer to, develop Ford and tractors and stuff? And he said, it's funny that you're saying I didn't go to school. Maybe I didn't go to your own school, but I went to my own school because I'm educated in my own field. Do you understand? What is business? Buying and selling. And it's funny that business is one of the four surefire way to become financially successful in life.
Amen.
Your education, your career, your degree that you are going to apply for a job opportunity, that workspace you are going to work at, the owner of that workspace is doing a business. You find out that's not even educated. And then he will hire you as a tool, as part of the admin. You could either be in finance, in HR, in admin, or on the field per se. But all of that system, you are running it for him. And to answer your question, when you say, if without the degree, are companies willing to hire people based on experience or the technical know-how? She just answered that. She did 3 years. And here comes someone that just went to Udemy part-time, knows how to do it. Same as I'm sitting here. I studied digital marketing online through HubSpot Academy. But what I can do with like I was showing you on your phone, what I can do with your iPhone, I mean, you'll be surprised. But I did not go to school of videography or photography 4 years on that. You get what I'm saying? But the core of the matter is, college is worth it for the opportunity to create for you outside there. The awareness it will give to you, but it is not for you to financially rely on.
Not for success.
No. The reason is because there comes a point in your life as one that is earning through selling out your time as an employee, So when you're working for anybody, you are selling out your time. You are a business person. You are trading your time and your personal life for money. Right? It's the same as somebody selling tomatoes or selling, pepper, and like a DJ or like a graphic designer. So you are selling your time, sitting in that office, crossing your leg, having that surety that's come rain or shine, on the 25th or the 30th, you earn your 50K, while the person that is taking the risk doing the business is failing. That is what you see. But the person is learning along the way because the business is closing. I've done many business. It didn't work. I tried one. This one gave me 1.4 million view in April. But you will not get to do that. What happens to you, you become redundant in what you see every day.
Boxed.
But this is the sad side of it, is that upon retirement and upon your death, no matter what your degree is, whether you have the PhD, it stops.
Amen.
It's not transferable. Whereas that illiterate that didn't go to school, that knows how to even sell tomatoes or sell pepper, will know that I have to teach my daughter to learn how to sell these tomatoes so that she can use it. And it happened in my own family. Yeah, so.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say something. Like, I mean, I hear you, sir. Like, theoretically brilliant, right? That's the theory. That's the ideal, right? In a perfect world, there's an element of transfer of skill, right? From, say, mother to father. For example, maybe, I don't know if this is the case in your situation where your dad, maybe he's been an inspiration for you to pursue electrical, or maybe his work has made you better than everyone else in class compared, so in that world, there's an element of it works. But where we come from, Nigeria, right? I'm pretty sure most, if not our parents, our grandparents, but in my case, for example, they sold rice, they sold beans, they sold bags. My mom sold bags and shoes and all this stuff, even peppers, by the way, farm. But there was no transfer of skill, right? Does it mean that they didn't want to transfer skill? They want to, but again, there's an element of, number one, the economy does not allow for that kind of adventure, right? The economy will frustrate your efforts to try to build a business there. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just more difficult, right? There's that practical side to it. There's also a practical side in the sense that from a young age, everyone tells you in high school, secondary school, that if you don't study, you end up in McDonald's, right? McDonald's was the symbol of failure. But the reality is, if I had done McDonald's for 1 year before university, I'll be a much better business owner, right? So there's an element of, there's also a societal expectation, right? And so, yes, I know that's probably like a case against, the business side. But now as a business owner, this point I wanted to make, as a business owner, and again, you've probably worked with people before. Yeah. One thing you would realize is finding the right employees. It's one of the most difficult things. Like finding the right person to work with who will deliver on time and consistently and so on. The school is a very good filter to get who is a good employee. Right. Something to say about that? Because to a certain extent, if this person started this degree and finished it after 4 years, there's a high chance that when you employ them, they will deliver and finish whatever task they've been assigned to, compared to the quote-unquote adventurer who did like a 3 years or 3 months course. Again, I'm not saying there will always be exceptions, but again, I'm looking at the numbers side, especially when we're dealing with majority. We know that majority of people are not built for business. Majority of people are unreliable. A majority of people really don't really want to be big. I don't think it's a bad thing. They don't want to own the next Facebook. They just want food, transport, a good place to live where they're not necessarily suffering and they're happy.
Yeah, but contrary to what you were saying, just to say another viewpoint, you would understand that for the so-called illiterate entrepreneurs, it's ironical that they're better at picking employees than those that are very better.
Absolutely.
Because there's just one thing they're looking at for loyalty. Whereas an educated employer wants one that follows the rules and regulation. And in the informal, and funny enough that you mentioned Nigeria, and one like as me that has studied in the eastern part of Nigeria and been exposed to the whole informal Nigerian business on trading kind of vibe, you understand that this person doesn't understand your Queen's English, but he knows marketing, he knows sales, he knows customer relation, he knows accounting,
Yes.
he knows bookkeeping,
Yeah.
he knows everything that you would learn in college. Like, for example, if you study business admin, they'll teach you filing, they'll teach you sorting, they'll teach you, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Whereas this person that is not educated already know that, okay, this fridge goes here, and this AC goes here, and this fridge is for like 15,000. If customer is nice, I can give for 25,000, say 13 or 14,500, and there'll still be profit on top. This person knows distribution, knows logistics, knows how long it will take for the container to arrive from China to Nigeria, knows clearing and forwarding, freight forwarding. But in the informal way, you that have studied freight forwarding in university, if a particular role in that spreadsheet that they give to you to fill in, if there's a mistake there, you say, no, this thing is not correct. And that can delay the goods from being cleared because you are too educated to let go of some things. Yes, that's another point. I mean.
You see, coming to what you just said, right? I picked up a point as well. Another point is someone that is very educated, right? Say, for example, the clearing and forwarding you're talking about, or let's say in an office where they sell goods and offer services, right? If you ask an educated person, went to school after 4 years in marketing and everything, and you ask that person, okay, how much is this cup right here? They go back to the computer to check the price. Or they go behind the cup to check the price. It's like
Scan the code.
in their brain, they can't say the prices, right? But I've seen people who didn't go to school, no degree, nothing, right? They have thousands of different cups hanging on the shelf. And when you ask how much is this, they tell you the price. How much they tell you the price, like, and it's accurate.
Go to China shop.
Exactly. China people, they don't need to look at the book, or they start from where they are, and they can point. That one is that amount, and it's accurate. So does it mean like these people, they know more business than the ones that actually studied business in school?
No, I must say, and by the way, I have my own personal beef with the academic system. Don't worry, there was this joke I always appreciate. It's like when my uncles would joke around this growing up, where they will talk about how Igbo guys are not necessarily the guys that go to school. They are the ones known for business. So they're not necessarily the bookworms. So they will try to mark them to say, if you ask an Igbo person, what's 5 plus 5? They say, I don't know. But if you say 5 rand per 5 rand, they'll tell you exactly. This is like it's very racist joke. I know, don't worry. But point is, I always appreciated that about like that tribe, in the sense that, like, yes, Yoruba people, because our people are like school. But it's like we have all this knowledge that doesn't translate into reality, right? And you have these guys who, they don't necessarily have the fancy clothes and the fancy suits, but they could get things done. You know, that I always appreciated that about that. In terms of how the academic system works, I would agree in the sense that school focuses on teaching you skills. So there's this engineer's curse. We call it the engineer's curse. If you tell an engineer, I need a website for, to say collect information from my users, the engineer will find the best software, the latest tech stack, because that's what they teach you in school. What's the latest technology? What's the best equipment to use, and so on. But when I went into business a little bit, I realized the reality is not like that. A lot of the time, customers don't really want a website. They just want a form that works, like an Excel form that does the best, efficiency, simple. So to a certain extent, I will agree that universities, college in general, they're not really optimized for solutions that people need. But at the same time, it still raises the question, what then is the alternative? Because again, I'm going back to the numbers. In a world where not everyone can do business, and when I say not everyone, a big percentage of people, say Nigeria, 300 million people, out of 300, maybe 10 million are business owners. So there's 290 million people, say another 20% do apprenticeships. You still have these big numbers that need skills. And I personally don't see another way to train people at large except for the college way. Now, I could be wrong, and this is where I'm hoping someone convinces me otherwise. College seems to be the only way. Let me speak for Africans, because again, the way I look at it, I'm looking at it from the poverty background. Okay. Right. I'm not saying I was in poverty, but our background was there's not a lot of people that have the knowledge, like marketing skills and so on. All of this we had to learn. It's not like we had school. So now we have like this 250 million people who don't have that information. The only reason why I think I even asked that question was because I was already exposed to stuff like that through like how to write JavaScript in school. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you can use JavaScript for a website. Oh, can I do business with this? Right. So there's still that question mark. If college is not really worth it, what's the solution then to these large numbers of people who need to be upskilled somewhere?
I don't know if I don't know if anybody has something to contribute, but while we wait for other opinions, I would say that it's amazing that you've mentioned Nigeria as a case study, and I would submit that if Nigerian can just adopt the same way or the same path that the Chinese had adopted, it's not far-fetched, it's not long ago. I remember 1998, to be very, very realistic, there was a news on CNN, then it used to be like big satellites, stuff, where there was a policy in China that nobody must have more than one child. Nobody. Because they were overpopulated at that time already. So what they needed at that time wasn't population increase. What they wanted was how to bring service delivery to the population, the already existing population. And what did they go? They went into mass industrialization, production, manufacturing. Because now, it's very simple. When I found this out, it really broke my heart for Africa, that we still rely on the traditional college. Now, listen to my submission. They already know Chinese that they're overpopulated. They know. But it will take a mad person to say, okay, how then are they going to mass production? Who is going to consume all of this thing they are producing in China? What did they do? They decided to look farther away from China and the whole Asian, they come into Africa where the population is 200 million people that are consumers, that are sitting in the class, listening to a teacher speak. A Chinese man is supplying you the rechargeable lamp that you need because there's no light. The Chinese man is supplying you the light pen and the book, everything that you need. And at the end of the day, you graduate, you finish, you don't get work. You still go back to China to try to get a business to do. So that one is the one submission. And the other submission about who is going to, you said the only way you feel for a bigger population like Nigeria to do skill, transfer is through college system. I beg to disagree. Why? Nigeria has the population. You adopt the China style. Nigerians, I think by birth, I don't know why I keep mentioning this in all of my podcasts, by mere nature, by the food we eat, we are naturally gifted intellectually. In any field you put in Nigeria. You that is a engineer now, if they say go and stand in a stage and become a comedian, you do better than somebody that went to theater school. Am I wrong or am I right?
But there's a reason why, right?
What's the reason?
That's what suffering does, right?
Yes. It is the same stuff that happened to China.